and the Umbrella Boy. Rupert was helping his daddy in the garden one day when they heard the front gate squeak. They looked up to see a strangely dressed man standing there. Plainly, he was a peddler of some sort, for he was heavily laden with rugs and trinkets and bundles. There was something about the man that made Rupert feel uneasy. His wide smile looked false, and without waiting to be asked, he came right into the garden. He put down his bundles and began to undo them. No, please, we really don't want anything," Mr. Bear began politely. The man acted as if he had not heard, and went on unwrapping his bundles and laying out his wares on the grass. All the time he was doing this, he smiled his big, false smile, and paid no attention to Mr. Bear's efforts to stop him. At last he straightened up, holding out a flask. "Lovely things. You buy, eh?" he said. "Please, you must understand, we don't want to buy anything today, thank you," Mr. Bear repeated patiently. But the stranger would not listen, and began to display more and more of his wares. "Lovely carpets, shawls, silks from faraway lands. You buy?" he wheedled. "Very cheap, good bargains. I come long way to bring you these beautiful things. Come on, you buy, eh?" And the smile was fixed on his face all the time. But it disappeared when at long last he accepted that Mr. Bear really wasn't going to buy any of his goods. Angrily, he bundled up his things, and as he did so, he muttered to himself. He was still muttering as he stamped out of the garden. At the gate, he turned, glared at Rupert and Mr. Bear, and brandished a fist. "What a nasty man," said Mr. Bear. "Yes," thought Rupert, "and I just hope we've seen the last of him." Mrs. Bear had been watching through the window, and when the stranger had gone, she called Rupert and sent him on an errand to the greengrocer's. "And when you go, have a look round and make sure that peddler has gone," Mrs. Bear added. "I didn't much like the look of him." From the garden gate, Rupert saw the man trundling his wares away in a wheelbarrow. He watched him out of sight, then headed for the village. On the way, he saw someone running towards him. It was his friend Sarah, but she looked as if something was wrong. "I say, what's up?" Rupert greeted her. Sarah caught her breath. "I was on my way to get something for my mummy," she panted, "but I found someone who seems to be in trouble. Come and see." And she led Rupert back to where a dark-skinned boy was seated under a tree. He seemed to be fast asleep, for he did not stir when the chums ran up. Scattered round him were a number of umbrellas, made of thick, brightly coloured paper. Rupert was just beginning to whisper, "I wonder what's wrong with him," when the boy woke up with a start. His eyes opened wide in alarm, and he jumped up. As he did so, he snatched up some of the umbrellas and held one out. "Nice umbrella. You buy, eh?" he pleaded. Why, he talks like that peddler, Rupert realized. And he's wearing the same sort of clothes. I wonder if they're father and son. He was just about to tell Sarah of the peddler when the boy collapsed with a little moan. Rupert started forward and helped the boy to his feet. "Are you ill?" he asked anxiously. "Would you like me to find the peddler man? He is your father, isn't he?" "No, not my father," the boy said shakily. "He is my master. Makes me sell umbrellas all day. Much work, but not much food." "Then you're coming to see my mummy," Rupert said firmly. And with Sarah carrying the boy's umbrellas, Rupert led the young stranger gently back to the Bear family's cottage. When Mrs. Bear heard about the boy, she bustled about getting food and drink for him. Soon the little stranger was tucking in and beginning to look better. When he had finished, he thanked Mrs. Bear and the chums, then went on to explain what he was doing in Nutwood. He had to trudge round after his master, the peddler, trying to sell umbrellas. If he couldn't sell any, he got no pay and very little food. Now the boy was feeling better, Sarah said she must get on with her errand for her mummy. "You needn't hurry off," Mrs. Bear told the boy. "Rest a while." But in a very short while the boy was on his feet again. "Must go, or my master will be angry," he sighed. "Must try to sell my umbrellas." "May I see one of your umbrellas?" asked Mrs. Bear. "Why, it is pretty," she said, when she opened one. "Yes, and though it is made of paper, it is very strong, and it will last a long time," said the boy. "Then I shall buy one," smiled Rupert's mummy. The boy was overjoyed that Mrs. Bear had bought one of his umbrellas, and he was much more cheerful when Rupert showed him to the gate. But before he went, he paused and asked, "Did you buy anything from my master when he came?" When he heard how Mr. Bear sent the man packing, he looked solemn. "Oh dear," he said, "my master will be very angry. Maybe even he will put bad spell on your nice family. Please, little bear, be very careful." And he hurried off after his master. Wishing that he could do something to make the umbrella boy's life happier, Rupert set off once more on his errand to the greengrocer's. He hadn't gone far, though, when he saw an umbrella propped against a tree. Now, how did that get there, he wondered. I'm sure Sarah didn't leave any behind when we took the boy home. She brought away all the umbrellas that were scattered around where he had been sitting. What's more, the boy didn't say anything about missing one. Rupert examined the umbrella. Yes, it's just the same as the others. But I'm quite sure we didn't leave it here. So who did? And why was it propped carefully against a tree so that it was bound to be seen? The boy's master must have done it while the boy was in our garden. I wonder why. Rupert pondered a moment, then decided to hide the umbrella in the bushes and return it to the boy when he had run his errand. He carefully noted the spot, then hurried on his way. Before Rupert had gone very far, a great wind sprang up, the sky darkened, and heavy rain teemed down. "I must find some shelter," Rupert gasped. "Ah, there's Mrs. Sheep's cottage. I can shelter behind her thick hedge." He dashed for the gate and huddled behind the hedge there. Oh, that's better," he panted. "This hedge is so thick it keeps both the rain and the wind off me. I'll stay here until the worst of the storm passes. It shouldn't be long." At last the rain eased off, and Rupert was just about to go when he noticed old Mrs. Sheep had come out of her cottage and was making complaining noises. Rupert pushed open the gate and asked, "Is something wrong?" "Just look," said Mrs. Sheep. She pointed to a shrub in a big pot. It was burned and shriveled. "It was my best one," she said. "Just an hour ago it was all right." "Has anyone been here in that hour?" asked Rupert. "Only a peddler and a boy selling umbrellas," replied Mrs. Sheep. "Then I think I know what has happened," Rupert said quietly, and he told Mrs. Sheep about the umbrella boy. "He is a sort of slave to the man, and he told me that his master is a bad man who can do magic, and sometimes puts a spell on those who won't buy his things. He must have killed your plant. But I can't wait. I'm on an errand for my mummy, and I'm awfully late already." So, saying goodbye, Rupert hurried away towards Nutwood. Just outside Nutwood village, Rupert caught up with a friend who was looking unusually thoughtful. It was Tiger Lily, the Chinese conjurer's daughter. "Hello! What are you doing out here?" Rupert greeted her. "I am helping my honourable daddy," Tiger Lily replied mysteriously. "With that wand?" Rupert asked. Tiger Lily considered for a moment, then seemed to make up her mind. "Perhaps I shall tell you, yes," she said. She gazed at Rupert for a moment, then whispered, "Something mysterious in the air." Tiger Lily sat down and explained. "My daddy is very worried. He can feel magic in the air that is different from his magic. He is too busy to look for it, so he sends me. Ah, there, see!" And she pointed to a spark which had appeared at the tip of her wand. "Strange magic do that. But now it is gone again. What can it be?" "The peddler!" exclaimed Rupert, jumping up. "He can make magic spells. "Just wait till I've run my errand, Tiger Lily, and I'll explain." Rupert dashed into the village, bought what Mrs. Bear wanted, then started back to where he had left Tiger Lily. As he battled against the wind, which had sprung up again, stronger than ever, he told himself, "I'm sure that peddler's the answer to Tiger Lily's mystery." But when he reached the spot where he had left her, he could find no sign of the girl. Puzzled, and rather worried, he pushed on towards home. On the way he came across Sarah, sheltering from the gale behind a tree. "I'm on my way back from my mummy's errand," she explained. "I met the umbrella boy again, and he felt much better thanks to your mummy. But, oh, Rupert, he still isn't really happy." She saw why when Rupert told her what he had learned about the boy and his harsh master. He told her, too, about the other umbrella he had found, and showed her where he had hidden it. Just then, it started to rain. "Here, Sarah, you use the umbrella to get home," Rupert said. "We can return it later to the boy." Sarah turned for home, delighted with the umbrella. Rupert called after her, "It's awfully light, so do hold it tight in this strong wind." "Of course I shall," Sarah shouted back, and off she went. "Well, I'd better push on home, rain or no rain," Rupert said to himself. "I've been so long on this errand, Mummy will think I've got lost." But as he was hurrying along, a shout made him turn, and there was the umbrella boy. He looked troubled. "Please, have you found another umbrella?" he asked. "Why, yes, as a matter of fact, I did," Rupert replied. "And I must say it had me puzzled, for I was quite sure we hadn't left any behind when we took you home." "Oh, no, I did not leave it," cried the boy. "My master put it there for you to find. He has put a spell on it, a very bad spell you must not touch." "My goodness," Rupert exclaimed, "and I've given it to Sarah. You go after her. She went that way. I must take this shopping home. I'll be back very soon." "Dear me, you've been a long time," Mrs. Bear greeted Rupert. "Did you have to shelter from the rain?" "Oh, it wasn't really the rain that held me up," Rupert explained. "I found another umbrella, you see, and I lent it to Sarah when she was caught in the rain. Then the umbrella boy found me and said his master had put a spell on it and that it was dangerous." "Oh, dear," Mrs. Bear exclaimed. "And I bought an umbrella too." "Yours is all right," said Rupert, "but Sarah may be in trouble." Rupert's mummy wanted him to come indoors and have something to eat, but the little bear pleaded, "Not just yet, please. I promised the umbrella boy I'd help him to find Sarah and warn her." Mrs. Bear wasn't happy about Rupert going where there might be bad magic, but she let him go with a warning to be very, very careful. Off Rupert hurried to where he had left the boy. Before he got there, he saw the boy running towards him, waving urgently. "Oh, come quick, little bear," gasped the boy as he dashed up. "Just like I warned you. Magic in umbrella very bad. Your friend Sarah, she is going up, far away." "I don't understand," Rupert interrupted. "What's happened to Sarah?" "No time," cried the boy. "Oh, please, come and see." He pulled Rupert to the top of a slope and pointed to something being blown along above the trees. "It's Sarah!" gasped Rupert. "And she's hanging onto the umbrella. Oh, how awful! Come on, we mustn't lose sight of her." Off the two dashed, and as they ran, the umbrella boy panted, "I have seen this spell before. My master puts it on umbrella handle. When handle gets warm, then magic works. It goes up in the air. Sarah frightened to let go, but soon she must tire and—" Rupert was so horrified at what the boy had told him that he put on a spurt and dashed ahead. But he really wasn't watching where he was going, and he was brought up short by a shout from the boy. Rupert found that in his anxiety to catch up with Sarah, he had run into a thick wood. The boy was calling and beckoning him to come back to the clearing, where he was hopping about in excitement and pointing upwards. When Rupert reached him and looked up at the sky, he gave a groan of horror. The umbrella was in sight above the trees, but there was no sign of Sarah. "Oh, how awful!" he cried. "She must have fallen. She's probably badly hurt. Come on, we must search everywhere." The two hurried to the trees over which they had last seen Sarah. "It's most likely she fell somewhere around here," Rupert panted, as they entered the wood. "Let's both call her. She may be able to answer. Sarah! Sarah! It's Rupert! Shout if you can hear me!" And almost at once there came an answering cry. "Up here, Rupert!" "Goodness, she's caught in a tree," Rupert exclaimed with relief. "It's this one. I say, give me a hand up," he called to the boy. "I'll climb up and get her." Rupert, who was very good at climbing, had soon shinned up the tree. And there, among the top branches, he saw Sarah. She was still shaken and frightened, but to Rupert's delight she was unharmed. "Now, I'll lead the way down," Rupert told her. "Just do as I do, and you'll be fine." Down they went, and when they reached the lower branches, Sarah began to tell what had happened to her. "Quite suddenly, the umbrella lifted me off my feet. It was so quick that I daren't let go. When we hit the top of this tree, I grabbed the branches and just let the wretched umbrella go. When we get down, I shall tell you why it all happened," Rupert promised. As they reached the ground, the umbrella boy was plainly happy to see that they were safe. "This boy has told me that his wicked master put a magic spell on the umbrella because we didn't buy anything from him," Rupert told Sarah. "It was really meant for me." "Now I must find that umbrella," the boy said, and turned away. "Let's help him," said Sarah. Rupert and Sarah set off after the umbrella boy, who plainly wanted to find the troublesome umbrella before it could do any more harm. Then Rupert spied a familiar figure. "Hey, stop!" he shouted after the boy. "Here's Tiger Lily. She'll want to know all about this." The boy turned back, and he and the Chinese conjurer's daughter gazed curiously at each other. "This boy knows all about the magic that I'm sure interfered with your daddy's magic," Rupert began. "Magic? You do magic?" the boy asked in surprise. Tiger Lily smiled and explained about her daddy and how he had sent her to find out about the strange magic. "It is still here, this other magic," she said, and moved her wand about until a spark appeared at its tip. "Hey, I have an idea," exclaimed Rupert. "That spark could be caused by the magic umbrella we're looking for. You may have been pointing at it." At once Tiger Lily was serious. "I must fetch my daddy," she said, and hurried off home. "I still think I may be right about the cause of the spark on Tiger Lily's wand," Rupert said. "Come on, let's see if we can remember which way she pointed it. We may find the magic umbrella." But before they could start, the boy, who had been looking around, gave a warning hiss. Sarah followed his frightened gaze. "Look out," she whispered. "There's a man coming. I'm sure it's your peddler. Quick, hide, everyone." And the three scattered for cover. Peeping from behind the big tree where he had concealed himself, Rupert watched the peddler man striding straight ahead. Clearly he did not know anyone was near. When the man had gone, the little bear came out of hiding. "Oh dear, I didn't see where the others went to hide," he thought, "and I daren't call in case the peddler hears. What's the best thing to do? I know, I'll see if Tiger Lily is coming back yet." And he started towards the conjurer's house. As Rupert came in sight of the tall, pagoda-like house where the Chinese conjurer lived, he saw Tiger Lily and her daddy approaching. "I have told my daddy about the other strange magic in the air," Tiger Lily said. "He says he is sure it is not good magic, and he comes to find out for himself." "Shall I show you where the umbrella drifted, and where Sarah got caught in the tree?" asked Rupert. "And oh, the peddler who put the spell on it is near here. I've just seen him."
"Thank you," said the conjurer, "but I think my magic finder can seek out this strange umbrella."
He pressed a switch on a machine he was carrying, and the needle on top of it swung round for a moment, then pointed steadily at a nearby tree.
"I am sure Umbrella is up this tree," he said. "Will you climb up and get it, Rupert? I shall surround you with good magic so that you cannot fall."
And for the second time that day, the little bear shinned up a very tall tree. Because he knew he couldn't fall, Rupert made good speed up the tree. And there, right at the top, trapped in the branches, was the umbrella he was seeking. He stretched forward, grasped it by the handle, and with his other hand reached for the catch to close it. Then, "Hey, what on earth's happening?" he gasped. I can't let go of it, and it's pulling me out of the tree. Oh, the spell is still working. Help! Help! But Rupert's cries were in vain, and he was pulled clear of the tree. At once, a stiff breeze sent him soaring over the forest, out of sight of the conjurer and Tiger Lily. Then, just when he was beginning to think he couldn't hold on very much longer, he started to sink. "It feels as if I'm being pulled down by something," he thought. "I wonder if it's more of the conjurer's magic." But when he looked down, it was not the conjurer he saw waving handkerchiefs and reciting a spell. It was the peddler. Helplessly, Rupert was pulled towards the ground. As soon as he was near enough to the ground to drop safely, he found that once more he could not let go of the umbrella. Seemingly, the spell allowed you to let go only when it was dangerous to do so, he realized. The peddler grabbed him.
"Now, little bear, you shall tell me where my servant boy is gone. The rascal has run away."
Rupert made up his mind that he would tell the man nothing, and just then Sarah appeared. "Run for it, Sarah!" the little bear shouted. Startled, Sarah hesitated. The peddler pushed Rupert towards her, and with a flourish of his hand pronounced a spell. Then he darted behind a tree where he seemed to have heard something, and repeated the spell. "Now's our chance," whispered Rupert. But when he tried to go, he couldn't move. Nor could Sarah, and nor could the umbrella boy, who was standing beside the tree behind which the peddler had disappeared. "So that's who he heard," Rupert said dismally.
"Cannot move," quavered the umbrella boy. "My master has put a spell on us. He is very angry. See, he walks away to think and plan what to do with us next."
And whatever it is, Rupert thought, it won't be nice. "But why am I in all this?" Sarah piped up. "I've never even seen that man until a minute ago, and I've had a bad enough fright already with that awful umbrella." "That's why he's angry," Rupert said. "You see, the umbrella was meant for me. Hey! What's all this?" Rupert broke off, for the air had begun to quiver and spark and crackle. The peddler rushed back.
"What is this? Do you make new magic, little girl?" he demanded angrily. But before Sarah could reply, a loud, stern voice made them swing round. And there, surrounded by more crackling coloured sparks, was the Chinese conjurer. Tiger Lily was standing beside him, and both were staring fixedly at the peddler, who was startled by their sudden appearance. At last the Chinese conjurer spoke, and his voice was scornful. "So it is you who make bad magic, eh? And you put evil spells on our little nutwood people. This I cannot allow. You will go, and you will go far away, and you will stay away, you wicked man."
At that moment, Rupert and the others found they could move again, and they rushed towards Tiger Lily. "I say, did your daddy's machine find us? Did he make all those stars and things?" asked Rupert. "You were only just in time." "Yes, yes," cried Tiger Lily. "Now my honourable daddy put everything right." By this time, the peddler had realized that he was no match for the conjurer, and was looking scared. The conjurer was still angry. He pointed to the umbrella boy.
"Rupert tells me this poor boy sells umbrellas for you." His voice was stern. "He is not your son. You pay him nothing and feed him poorly. He is nothing more than a slave. That is so, yes?"
For a moment the peddler tried to bluster,
But he could see from the conjurer's face that he was wasting his time.
"No, you cannot deny that this poor boy is no better than a slave."
The conjurer cut him short scornfully. Then he turned to the poor umbrella boy.
"You shall choose your master," he told him gently. "Him or me. If me, you get good living and learn good magic."
The umbrella boy could hardly believe his ears. Then, for the first time, Rupert saw him grin.
"You,"
he said. When the peddler had been sent packing for good, the conjurer relaxed and smiled.
"It was lucky for all of you that Rupert told Tiger Lily about that man and his wicked spells, and that she came and fetched me in time to get you out of very bad trouble. And now this boy shall be free if he wishes."
But the boy, who was no longer the umbrella boy, had made up his mind to stay with the conjurer, and off they went together.
"I'm so glad for him," laughed Rupert.